What's up, everybody? It's your man, Joe Blackburn, and we are about to jump into September, and I'm joined today on the PHILCast with Miss Julia Ferris. What's up, Julia?
Hey, how are you doing?
We are doing fantastic over here. I cannot wait to get everybody hyped up and excited to hear what we're going to talk about today. We've got a great show for everyone. Look, I've been in crypto for a long time. Julia, I know you've been around for a long time too. You've actually been kind of like me, really, really big into the crypto community side of things. You actually run the PHILCoin community group chat on Facebook. I've also been involved on Facebook extensively, much like yourself, and we've both done a lot on podcasts. And so we're going to actually dive into a lot about what the bull market is going to entail. Me and Tatum did a slight show about this not too long ago ourselves. But before we do that, Julie, why don't you just tell a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you've done in your past, and what you're excited about going forward.
All right, what I do a lot. So I wear a lot of different hats. So, and it usually shocks people to know I actually am a mother of 7, a grandmother of 3, and 1 on the way. That's my favorite job. And I also own a neurotherapy center. So I train brains to function normally in various capacities, cognitive, behavioral, mental health. And I'm a crypto enthusiast, if you will, and more geared toward the community and education for crypto, helping people, regular people, get involved in a space that they're not familiar with, making it not so scary, and keeping them, abreast of the things going on in the crypto space, so that they don't panic like, most of the world is doing right now.
Hey, you can say that again. You can say that again. And that's a good point, though. I mean, it's easy to panic in this market. And as so many others in so many different generations of crypto, this is like the 5th bear market of substantial measures, at least as the charts go, that people have experienced within the crypto world. And as I noted in the introduction, you run the PHILCoin question and answer group. This is no small undertaking. It's something that you take very seriously. I mean, look, as somebody who works for the core PHILCoin team, I get a lot out of that group. You help me a lot, actually, and like as busy as it is working, building, and showing a lot of, I literally am on the ground, boots on the ground, building daily. You are so involved on the actual community building level, and it's so refreshing and so exciting to be part of what you do every day. So we're going to dive in a little bit today on what we are building and what we're doing on the PHILCoin. But most importantly, we're going to talk a lot about our experiences, both individually, but collectively, what we can expect maybe going forward and how exciting that actually might be. But I'll have a couple questions for you first, Julia, before we get started, just kind of off the cuff, didn't prepare for this, but through the years, you've been around kind of like me, I've always liked to do a lot of my interviews, asking kind of like some quick fire questions, if you will. And it's just kind of some icebreaker questions, and the first one is all time in crypto, your favorite coin all time. I mean, obviously it's PHILCoin, but outside of PHILCoin, going back in the days, what's been like your favorite project, favorite coin that you ever experienced through some of these bull runs?
Oh, it's so generic. Ethereum. Because I studied the creator of Ethereum. I love what was built on Ethereum. I felt like Ethereum was a great breakthrough for the crypto world, and the young mind behind it. And yeah, I loved Ethereum. Absolutely. I loved everything about it. And it's just, for me, it was a trustworthy crypto.
Absolutely.
So, Ethereum. And I haven't been around as long as you. This is my second bull and bear. So, not as long, but I came into crypto in an educational platform in the beginning. So I was prepared for all of the things. I kind of knew a lot and what to expect. So that roller coaster was laid out for me before. So I was ready. I was locked and loaded. So.
Yeah, but like going through this, being your second bull and bear run, I mean, I still think that's a significant amount of experience. And much like yourself, I would say Ethereum and Bitcoin, obviously, it's unfortunately, it's very vanilla to say to a lot of people. It might be boring, but clearly that would be mine too. Like obviously, Bitcoin stands firm and is like the grandfather of them all. But Ethereum stands there as kind of like the grandmother of them all in a lot of ways, as that motherly figure in its own right. And I agree with you. Like that would be mine too. And then, PHILCoin is obviously plays a significant role in my life now, as such a core principle of what I do every day. Number one, but number two, Jerry's vision and what his whole reason and purpose for doing this was to begin with. But most importantly, how much we have an opportunity to impact what's happening in the world. And that really stands still, especially like with this past month and being able to experience that firsthand.
Yeah, I think that I really feel like PhilCoin prepared for times like this. They already knew. So I trust not just the vision, but I trust that they knew there would be bear markets and they knew where we were and we're prepared for it. They knew that regulations were coming. So I feel like PhilCoin was really built with all of that in projection. So everything was built around what to expect. So I have a lot of security in that. And I think that the fact that they've been so transparent gives it a lot of safety for me. I think I've told my story before. My first crypto buy was a startup, but it was that claimed to be a philanthropy-based crypto, and actually ended up taking a lot of money from people. And I saw it coming, and I kind of shouted from the rooftops, and I made it out of there with a good profit. But a lot of people lost a lot, and it didn't scare me away from startups. It didn't scare me away from philanthropy and crypto. It actually gave me the ability to know what to look for. And so when PhilCoin came along, of course, I vetted it. I asked a lot of questions, but I found it to be a real establishment. So here I am. I think, what are we, a year and a half, almost 2 years in for me with PhilCoin. So the vision appealed to me. The transparency appealed to me. The fact that you can go on a website and find the information about everybody appealed to me. So I think this is really the foundation of something solid and something really good in the future.
Yeah, and I don't know if the community out loud. I mean, I don't know if it's something that you brag about yourself. I'm sure it's not, because that's not your style. But Julia has worked herself in from coming in as a just a regular token holder, a PhilCoin holder, to becoming an ambassador, to becoming a senior ambassador. She runs the PhilCoin question and answer group. She is an integral part of the leadership now as an ambassador / somewhat of an advisor now. And it's all hard work and sweat, that she's put into this to reach that point. And I think that's a telling sign of someone who has seen the negative aspect of this type of industry and has come in, who is prone to finding the negatives or the areas that aren't so good, but has found the transparency and the positive out of this project and worked her way into this area of leadership, and is so excited about what's going on and what's being built. So on that note, let's talk about what is going on right now with PhilCoin, and then we can kind of segue into what we really want to hit on, and that is what to expect going forward as far as the overall market and what that is for a lot of people who maybe this is their very first bear market and they didn't know what to expect. But that being said, as someone who's been around, and just a little bit background on me, if you don't know who I am, my name is Joe Blackburn. I bought Bitcoin in November of 2013. And that was the first time that Bitcoin had ever reached $1,000. And one of my friends called me on the phone. He was like, Joe, Bitcoin's going to $10,000. It just hit $1,000. There's only 21 million of them. You better get some right now. And so I looked at my bank account, and guess what I had? I had $1,000, Julia. And I was like, I'm getting one. And guess what? I got me a Bitcoin. I was a newlywed. I was like, I'm about to get rich off $10,000. And then 3 months later, Bitcoin was $180. And I was like, man, I got. So I learned a very quick and difficult lesson almost instantly about the cryptocurrency world. So I sat there 90% down, almost 85% down or so. And I was very, very frustrated. Of course, you got fees and all stuff. Back then, it was not easy to get Bitcoin, let alone sell it. But instead of literally just cutting my losses, and I mean, again, it wasn't worth it, really. I mean, I just turned my whole life savings of $1,000 as a newlywed, still trying to hide that from my wife at the time, into $100 essentially. I then just started adding on. Instead of having $1,000 loss or $800 loss, I had now had a $500 loss, because I started working my way up and adding more and more and more. So I had 2 Bitcoin, 3 Bitcoin. Before you knew it, Bitcoin was back up to $400 and $500, and before you knew it, I was even money. Before you know it, I was up $200 or $300, and before you know it, Bitcoin was back up to $800, $900, $1,000, and now I was in profit, right? And then Ethereum came out, and just like you, I fell in love very quickly. And although I didn't get in at the ICO at 10, 15, 20 cents, whatever ICO'd at, I did get in when it got onto Coinbase. And when they first launched on Coinbase, man, it was exciting. And that propelled me into a really deep dive into not just hey, I'm getting in because maybe it'll make me rich one day. I got in because, man, this blockchain stuff now has legs. These smart contracts, now they make sense. Oh, now I understand this crypto thing because now I can force trust on the internet. Now I can force this ability for this to make sure that happens by observing this mediator of this transaction in the middle. So this now started to make sense to me. So long and the short is my background started from that journey. All right. So I just condensed almost just over a decade, essentially, almost a decade coming up in November, of Joe Blackburn's journey. Okay. Now, flash forward. Right now, we're sitting here in Bitcoin bear market 2023. Well, guess what? The halving's coming up, isn't it, Julia?
It is.
Bitcoin halving's coming up.
That's what we're all looking for. That's what we're all waiting for. I was in. I think I was a year or a year and a half in when this last one happened, and I got to watch the explosion. It was a good time for me. Yeah.
So the last, and I could talk about Bitcoin at $400, $500 in 2016. I could talk about Ethereum at $2 in 2016. I could talk about that era, but that era is not relevant to me. That was like pre-modern crypto. But the 2020 bear market was the pre-halving of 2020. Let's talk about January, February 2020. COVID time, right? We saw that COVID drop in March down to like $3,000 Bitcoin. And we had just made so much ground back up to like $10,000, $12,000. We were so excited because we'd already taken that drop back down to $2,000, $3,000. I think it was 3,000, 3,300, 3,400. And we were just like, man, our all-time high was $20,000 almost. Julia, do you remember that panic? I don't know if it meant anything to you, but after seeing $19,600 in December 2017, and then going all the way back down to 3,000 again in March of 2020, I was truly capitulated. I was like, maybe it is done. I had finally lost hope. I was like, man, this COVID stuff really wrecked us. And then by September, we had already hit our all-time high again, 20,000 when we crossed back over. In a matter of 6 months, 5 months, we had gone from despair and lost hope all the way back up. And I'm telling this story for a reason, everyone. I'm telling this story because I want everybody to hear me. This story is the culmination of what even a seasoned veteran like myself. I mean, I was knee deep in the thick of it. I was running and still do a group of almost 200,000 people on crypto. I mean, more than that. I mean, there's several groups that I run that collectively are like around 600,000 people altogether. And I have a enormous respect for being responsible in how you say things and trying to maintain a certain level of reasonableness in how you approach this and being very, very sensible and rational. And it's never that bad and it's never that good, right? You always have to take that middle reasonableness, whatever you want to call it, in how you see it. But I was literally so down. And here I am today to tell you, we're not low, we're high. And that goes for crypto, right? Because if you back it up to $180 Bitcoin and how sick to my stomach I was, that's going to be us one day talking about right now, whether it be PHILCoin, whatever it might be. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, never will be, but this is the moment. This is that moment when you're going to be like, man, the reason why we're here right now is because people have lost a little bit of that understanding of, man, I wonder if anybody's coming back. Yes, the interest is coming back. People are just unsure of what's coming next. Anyways, all right, I'm rambling. Julia, get your thoughts.
Okay, so number one, I would consider you like the boomer of the crypto world, and I'm like Gen X of the crypto world. Yeah,
you're not my time frame in which I got in, and
I'm a crypto Gen Xer.
That name just resonates with me.
And so, what I think is interesting is that people look at just the surface of things instead of looking at, I'm a history buff and I like to look at history. And so I went back to Bitcoin's entire life, and then I went back to Ethereum's entire life to watch the ups and downs, and to see what that looked like, especially when getting into a startup. But you see cycles there. I think we're in a little bit of a different season than the previous seasons, simply because we now see the crypto market moving a lot like the stock market, whereas that it was kind of the people's, it was kind of people run before it was our money. And now we can see that the big asset management companies are in it, but that's good for now. That's actually a good sign at this stage of the game. And the reason I feel that
That's a
is,
good point.
if you go and look at who is adopting XRP, who is adopting Bitcoin, where does Ethereum stand? Where does XLM stand? Those are really important cryptos right now because they're being implemented into some very advancing technologies within the banking systems and asset management companies. They have the power to move the market. And I think we're in a season where they're trying to shake off the weak hands. And those of us with diamond hands will stick around, at least for this next big run. And then, we'll see what happens from there. I think that anyone who quits now I saw a meme image recently, and it's a guy who's in a diamond mine, and he's digging and digging and digging, and you see him turn around and leave, and he's this close. If he had just hit one more time, he would have broken through. And I feel like that's where we're at. So you buy low and sell high. Anybody who's bailing right now, hopefully it's only out of necessity, because that's not where we're at. We need to be accumulating right now, because this next season is going to be mind blowing. But I still think we're going to go lower. I think we're going to have a really rough fall and winter. I think it's going to scare a lot of people. But if we can keep our hands off of it and come into the next season, I think and hang on. We'll see who's still hanging on at that point. But I think we're in a good place. So.
I think those are great points. And here's the thing: is nobody knows, right? And whether, I mean, again, neither one of us are financial advisors, as I just stated, and this is not financial advice, everybody. We're literally just, I literally work for PHILCoin. I'm an employee of the company, right? And so of course I'm biased. Julia is a senior ambassador, and while she's not actively employed, she is actively working around and for the betterment of this company. And it's an important distinction that we responsibly need to make. And so, of course, we have certain really, really high expectations and truly, genuinely excitement for what we believe this project is going to be. But it doesn't come without reason for what PHILCoin personally is doing. And one of those really big aspects is what Jerry's vision is and how we're building that underneath the foundation that has been set, and then what's to come. And a lot of that stuff, and I know as somebody who has been around for so long personally, I know how frustrating it is for maybe the holder who hears we can't talk about it yet, or man, it's coming, everybody. But I cannot stress to you the amount of cool things that are literally being worked on, the amount of partnerships that Jerry has been working on, the amount of things that are all literally happening and trickling down on that umbrella that are all about to start just building up to just explode on top of this project. And I want to remind everybody, timing is everything in crypto. I'm going to take everybody back to a story that I'm not going to use any names. I need to be careful how I say this, but there was a project, a great project, a project that was a sure thing. And this project was absolutely, they were 100% completely headstrong on doing it without even worrying about what time in the market it was. And some of you may be able to figure this out without me saying a name, but some of you may never heard of this project before. This was back in 2019. This project had enough money to sustain it through a bear market, and they were going to build, but they were also going to market throughout. And they knew that the bull market was coming in 2020, and early 2019 they started really spending a lot of money on marketing. Now they were building the whole time, but they started marketing early. They were blowing up on the conference circuit. They were throwing all this money at sponsored big $100,000 marketing campaigns. Super Bowl. I mean, I think they marketed in the Super Bowl, and what ended up happening was nobody was buying. Nobody bought, and they ran out of money. before the bull market ever got there. And then people ran out of patience, people ran out of expectations, and all the things that they did when they were ready and the bull market was booming, they still did okay. But had they saved all of that marketing and all of that news for the bull market, they would have been exceptionally well positioned to not just explode, but to have been a top 5, top 10 project at that moment. All of that, they should have just waited. They just thought they were smarter than the human element of this. You cannot fight the market, people. You can't fight what is already ingrained into a significant amount of what's going on. Now, that hopefully will change one day. Julia, I hope that we break out of the cycle of it all has to happen in this way, and there's only an 8-month period for this to work out for crypto. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, why? I don't know why that is. That's ridiculous in my opinion. But for now, that's the way it is. Right. And once we get through that first major run coming up, it will be a lot different because Philcoin will be through its infancy, but this is still kind of the infancy toddler stage for Philcoin. Once we get through that, it'll be like Bitcoin, you can still do great after that.
I think in piggybacking on your point about marketing, when it comes to crypto, I think there's a trust issue still. If the market is doing one thing and all other crypto is doing something, and all of a sudden we see heavy marketing and this rogue coin doing something else, people would distrust it. What's wrong with that picture? Why is that a pump and dump? People start to become suspicious if there's too much attention on one thing while the rest of the market is doing something else. And unfortunately, they almost want to see everything ebb and flow together. They don't want to see one take off all by itself and be a winner, because it makes them suspicious. So, because I think honestly, Philcoin could take off all by itself outside of the market. It really could. I don't think it would be great either.
Right.
I think we still need to build the philanthropy, get the philanthropy message out in what Philcoin's vision is in the first place before that happens as well. Because to me, that's why I'm here. I'm here for the betterment of the community, the betterment of regular people. And that's what I get to gain from this. Like, why am I volunteering and spending my time doing this? Not as a paid employee. I'm not getting anything, any kickbacks. I get great information. I get great relationships, but ultimately it's for the betterment of my own community and people that I know. And if we can make that vision go forward first, then when this bull run happens, we're going to have even more to pour into the community and philanthropy side of that. I want to build things.
Well, the good news about that is we are very close to, I believe, some great news, and that should be that. Actually, I was recently down in Orlando visiting Jerry just a couple weeks ago, and that conversation was on the forefront of all that. And so maybe even I don't want to say by the time that this goes live that might actually be in the works. I already know that well, actually, hopefully, maybe the next podcast we do might even have some news. I'm just going to stop talking right now before I say something that might go before Jerry sees this and says, "What are you doing, Joe?" So I'm just going to stop. But here we go.
Yeah, you got to be down there rubbing elbows with the elites, the Philcoin elites, and I got to hear about it and see some cool stuff on video. So how did that go? I know that we were supporting somebody very important within our partnerships.
Man,
so
absolutely. Well, first off, I got to watch Nessa Bravo take it to the house and take the belt. Right. I'm not a boxing like expert or anything, but I'm a grown man who knows when another man is winning a fight, and oh boy, whooped the other dude. Now, it was a great fight. I give credit to Ill Will, I think is what his name was, which is a pretty cool name. But I don't think Ill Will was always fighting. I think he was a little bit ill because he was not fighting the cleanest. But Nestor, pure class. Let me tell you, I really gotta brag on Jerry here. Look, Jerry is a successful man. He's a businessman, right? Jerry was successful long before Philcoin. And I watched Jerry stand next to this dude. I'm hesitant to call him a kid. I guess he's a kid, but he's not really. He's in his early 20s. His parent, he comes from a great family, but Jerry stood next to him as serving this kid, holding his hand up and being a steward for him without taking credit, as if he was his helper, as if he was his assistant. I mean, it was
caretaker.
Without taking a single lick of credit or without wanting any, just as a humble servant to him. And to watch that, it made a profound impact on, not that I didn't know that about Jerry. Jerry gives and gives and gives. That's why he created PhilCoin. That's his philanthropic spirit. That's what, his God-given talents are to see is to find ways to benefit others, right? That's what God has put in his heart.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. Exactly right. But to watch him do that in an unrelated way, to watch him serve others in a way to bring a kid his goal in an opportunity like this it really, I cannot tell you it seems so probably minuscule to others listening to me and like, what is Joe talking about? I'm telling you, you had to watch it to make it make sense maybe, but it really made an impact on how I view Jerry. And I already view Jerry that way, right? It just brings you to your knees and humbleness to watch him act that way. A man who wields a powerful stick. I mean, this dude is a very, very successful man. He is in charge of a lot of things. Exactly. Yeah. He's a boss, and in that moment, he's a servant. And that's just, to me, is a huge deal. And I don't want to carry on about that, but it just means a lot to me to watch him in that role and to see him to wear different hats that way. But anyways, moving on past that, Jerry's got an incredible support system around him. I got to meet Tatum in person for the very first time. Everybody knows Tatum, leader of the pack here. She's not only is she one of my dear friends, but she's a true leader of the marketing team. She does so much within operations. I value her friendship and her leadership within this team, and she is incredible at what she does. And Julia, I know that you and her also have a tremendous relationship as well. But she's integral part to this team, and I wouldn't be able to do anything without her. I think that Jerry values her the same way in a lot of ways, but also Pastor Rich Wilkerson, he was there. I mean, that dude is something else. I just get to meet the entire Dr. Pena. I got to meet him in person for the first time. All these people, I guess I know them because we're on Zooms all the time, but I got to be around them and be there in person, so it was super cool.
In their presence. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think what you're describing is the reason that we're here, and I'm always talking about the integrity, especially of the ambassadors, but the integrity of the group, the team, the people involved in this. Anytime there's anything that maybe doesn't fit, it works its way out organically, right? And this core group of people, the people that you're describing, really are the backbone of not just what drives, I wouldn't say even the company, but what drives the vision and the spirit and keeps Jerry lifted up in his vision. And there's a great accountability there. There's great uplifting of each other, encouragement, spiritual guidance for one another. It's a really, really awesome team. There's it's a family, I think. And I think as time goes on, it'll become more of a tight-knit group and a tight-knit family. And of course, the world doesn't get to see this. I guess, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the back. If people are just looking at the price of a coin, a lot of times that's all they're worried about. And, they have no idea what's actually going into this. But, when people see, and I try to post this in the Q&A, and a lot of the stuff I do in the Q&A comes through private messages. So it's not out there in the open. Mm-hmm. But one thing I try to keep people focused is the fact that there's marketing going forward, the fact that they are adding people to the team, the fact that new things are being talked about, that you're seeing physical, tangible spaces that PhilCoin is in, is a testament to how strong the vision is, how strong the company still is going forward. So, people who are worried about, I've had people just ask me, is it over? Have we lost everything? And I'm like, well, did you sell any of your coins? If you haven't, then no, you haven't lost anything. So just hang tight.
It's just beginning. It is just starting. And there is a lot of great things and great news that has not been announced. And I'm going to let everybody know as a representative as official representative of this company, I cannot wait to let everybody know what's next. I mean, there really is so much to come.
There's a lot to come. There's a lot of heart behind it. There are a lot of visions that everyone has that haven't even been touched yet because they're in the future. It's really, the possibilities are endless, and just getting that foundation built. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see, those who hang in there and those who are new to the crypto space get to experience what we've experienced through these, ups and downs, or the roller coaster of crypto. When they get to the other side of this and they were hanging on, not only for them to prosper, but for them to really pour into PHILCoin's vision even more. I think it's going to give a big boost to the vision of PHILCoin at that time, and really propel PHILCoin into its next season. So I'm excited about, in the bull run, that's what I'm excited about. So I know everybody sees dollar signs, but for us, I think, who are pouring into this from our heart, there's a lot more to it.
Look, we're going to do this. Absolutely. We'll continue to do this. Hopefully we'll be able to do a show once a week, Julia, if not at least once every other week together. You're a fantastic co-host. I appreciate you so much. What did we miss? Anything that you wanted to chat about that, or topic that we may have not covered?
No, maybe we can end this just with encouraging people about where the market is as a whole. A lot of people are new to crypto. I've seen people who are not new to crypto that are having the same panic they do every cycle. It's just their nature, their personality. But walk away from it. Get to know the history of crypto. I like to tell people who come back to me about their cryptocurrency, and I'm pretty straightforward. This is really black and white, and it's not to be harsh or crass. You are responsible for your own investments. If you put your money into a cryptocurrency, that's your responsibility, not the person who introduced you to it. You made that decision. It's your responsibility to become educated in the crypto space, to keep up with the news of crypto, to know where crypto is going. If you're insecure about something and you make a decision on that insecurity, that's also your fault, your responsibility. And if you lose out because you made a rash decision, it will also be that falls on you. So I just encourage everyone to look at the history, go back to Ethereum, go back to Bitcoin, go back to XRP, and look at the first 2 years, what that looked like. You're kind of riding low. You have a little spike. And I told all our people in the Q&A, be prepared for a nice spike at the beginning, and then probably a pretty heavy drop. I was very straightforward. That's what it looks like. Go back and look at the lifetime. You can go on Crypto CoinCap, or what is
CoinMarketCap.
CoinMarketCap. Yeah. Market Cap. Yeah. And CoinGecko. And you could just click the max lifetime and just look at these cycles and look at what the beginning of every crypto. We are in line with what every great crypto has done. So judging it at this point,
I mean, you got projects that have gone up millions of percents and come back down, and still and reclaim those highs at sometimes.
Exactly.
I mean, Shiba is a great example of that, and to some extent, I don't even want to even pretend like there's not. It's even close to over with, or even remotely. I'm telling everybody right now that this is a real project doing really great things that has an opportunity to change the world. And that is my favorite thing about being associated with project and a leader like Jerry Lopez. And I'll tell everybody right now, I cannot wait till everybody sees what's next. This is going to be awesome. And if you haven't seen the video yet, the YouTube video that Jerry just launched, man, that thing just fires me up every time. I've probably watched it 50 times. So anyways, but look, until next time, everybody, this is PHILCast.
Is there a way to put a link in the podcast somewhere?
In the description, absolutely.
Yeah, do that, because I really think people need to see that. Again, it's that tangible visual aspect that there's a lot happening in the background, and it should give you some security. So I'm also extremely excited about the future, well, cryptocurrency in general, but specifically PHILCoin and what PHILCoin stands for. And
absolutely.
Just really want to encourage Jerry. Jerry, we support you. We think your vision is our vision now, and we're so grateful. I'm just honored to be here. And like I said, I was a volunteer. I was just helping people. And this company recognizes people who bring value to other people. And that's how I ended up here. So I'm just excited and honored.
You bring a lot to the table, Julia, and I, for one, appreciate you. And I know Jerry does. I mean, I can't speak for Jerry, but I've seen it firsthand, because you wouldn't be sitting right here if that wasn't the case. But thanks again, Julia, for being an awesome co-host.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you'll do this with me again. I can't wait. Hopefully that's the case. And we'll see everybody else next time right here on PHILCast. Awesome. We'll see you soon.